Sun warm, sky blue, ocean calm, a perfect day for sailing. I was miles from shore, enjoying the solitude. The gentle rocking of the boat soothed me. I felt at peace. This was my escape, my happy place. Away from the noise, the demands, the relentless pace of life. Out here, it was just me and the sea. For a moment, I closed my eyes, breathing in the salty air. A sudden gust of wind snapped me back to reality. The tranquility of the open sea was shattered in an instant. One moment I was basking in the serene beauty of the ocean, and the next I was thrust into a chaotic nightmare. The wind, which had been a gentle companion, turned into a ferocious beast. The sky, once clear, now churned with dark clouds. It was as if the heavens themselves had decided to wage war against the sea. The transformation was swift and unforgiving. The once bright and inviting sky was now a swirling mass of darkness, threatening to consume everything in its path. The wind howled, whipping the sea into a frenzy. It was a deafening roar, a sound that seemed to come from the very depths of the ocean. The waves, which had been gentle ripples, were now towering giants, crashing against the boat with relentless fury. Each wave felt like a hammer blow, shaking the very core of the vessel. Waves crashed over the bow, tossing the boat violently. Fear gripped me. It was a primal fear, the kind that reaches deep into your soul and refuses to let go. I could feel the boat struggling against the onslaught, creaking and groaning as it fought to stay afloat. Every muscle in my body was tense, every nerve on edge. This wasn't just a squall, this was a full-blown storm. The kind of storm that sailors tell tales about, the kind that leaves a mark on your soul. The sky was a canvas of chaos, painted with streaks of lightning and the deep rumble of thunder. The rain came down in sheets, blurring the line between sea and sky. I fought to control the boat, my muscles screaming in protest. Every movement was a battle, every decision a matter of life and death. The wheel was slick with rain and my hands were numb from the cold, but I couldn't afford to let go, not even for a second. The storm demanded my full attention and I had to give it everything I had. The wind ripped through the sails, tearing them to shreds. It was a merciless force, shredding the canvas as if it were paper. The sails flapped uselessly in the wind, their once proud form reduced to tatters. I could feel the boat losing its fight, the storm slowly but surely gaining the upper hand. I was at the mercy of the storm. There was no escaping its wrath, no hiding from its fury. All I could do was hold on and hope that the boat would hold together. The storm was a living, breathing entity, and I was just a small, insignificant speck in its path, but even in the face of such overwhelming power, I refused to give up. I would fight until the very end, no matter what the storm threw at me. A monstrous wave slammed into the boat, flipping it like a toy. The sky was a dark, menacing grey, and the wind howled like a wild beast. The sea was a churning cauldron of chaos, each wave more ferocious than the last. I clung to the railing, my knuckles white with fear, but it was no use. The wave hit with the force of a freight train, and the boat was tossed like a leaf in a storm. I was thrown into the churning water. The cold was a shock, like 1,000 needles piercing my skin. I tried to scream, but the salty water filled my mouth, choking me. The waves were relentless, pulling me under, then throwing me back to the surface, only to drag me down again. I fought to stay afloat, but the sea was a merciless adversary. Salt water stung my eyes. The roar of the storm filled my ears. Underwater, everything was a blur of dark shapes and swirling currents. I could barely see, and the pressure was crushing. My lungs burned for air, but every time I tried to surface, another wave would crash over me, pushing me back down. It was a battle I was losing. I struggled to stay afloat, gasping for air. My arms and legs felt like lead, and every breath was a struggle. The storm was a living thing, a monster that seemed determined to drag me down into the depths. I fought with everything I had, but it wasn't enough. Then everything went black. The last thing I remember was the feeling of being pulled under, the cold darkness closing in around me. When I woke, I was lying on a beach, sand clinging to my battered body. The storm had vanished. The sky was a brilliant blue, and the sun was shining down, warm and comforting. I could hear the gentle lapping of waves on the shore, a stark contrast to the chaos of the storm. I was alive, but I had no idea where I was, or how I had survived. The sun beat down on me. It was a welcome warmth after the cold of the ocean, but it also made me painfully aware of my injuries. My body ached all over, and every movement was a struggle. I could feel the sand sticking to my skin, gritty and uncomfortable, but I was too exhausted to brush it off. I just lay there, trying to gather the strength to move. I was alive, but where? I looked around, trying to get my bearings. The beach was deserted, a stretch of golden sand with no sign of civilization. There were no footprints, no debris from the storm, nothing to indicate that anyone else had been here. I was alone, adrift in an unknown place. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. I had survived the storm, but now I faced a new challenge. Survival in this strange, deserted place. I sat up, my head pounding. Palm trees swayed gently in the breeze. White sand stretched out before me, meeting turquoise water. A beautiful island, but I was utterly alone. Panic swelled. I stumbled to my feet and searching for any sign of life, any wreckage from the boat. Nothing, just the endless expanse of the ocean and the dense jungle that fringed the beach. Despair threatened to consume me. I was stranded, alone on a deserted island. My phone, my radio, everything gone with the boat. No way to call for help. I had to survive, but how? I scanned my surroundings. The lush vegetation offered some hope, food, maybe shelter. But it also hid dangers. I needed a plan. I had to focus on the essentials: water, food, shelter. Section 6, Thirst for Life. The sun beat down mercilessly. My throat was parched, my lips cracked. Water. I needed water. I remembered reading somewhere that coconut milk could stave off dehydration. I spotted a cluster of coconut trees further down the beach. With renewed determination, I stumbled towards them. Each step was a battle, my body aching, but I pushed on. I had to. Section 7, Nature's Bounty. Reaching the trees, I searched for a fallen coconut. Nothing. Frustration surged. Suddenly, I spotted something else. Berries growing on a vine. Were they edible or poisonous? I hesitated. Eating the wrong thing could be disastrous. But thirst gnawed at me. I had to take the risk. I plucked a berry, examined it closely, then cautiously took a bite. Section 8, Shelter from the Storm. The berry was tart, but surprisingly refreshing. It wouldn't quench my thirst completely, but it gave me some energy. Now, shelter. The jungle seemed the best option, protection from the elements. But it was also a labyrinth, full of unknown dangers. I took a deep breath and ventured into the cool darkness, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. Section 9, Into the Unknown. The journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty, and every step I took felt like a leap into the abyss. The jungle was an enigma, a living, breathing entity that seemed to watch my every move. The dense canopy above allowed only slivers of light to penetrate, casting eerie shadows that danced on the forest floor. It was a place where time stood still and the usual rules of the world seemed to fade away. The jungle floor was littered with fallen leaves and tangled vines. Each step was a challenge as the ground beneath me was uneven and treacherous. The leaves crunched underfoot, a constant reminder of the life that once thrived here. The vines twisted and turned, creating a labyrinth that seemed impossible to navigate. It was as if the jungle itself was trying to ensnare me, to keep me from moving forward. The air was thick with humidity, clinging to my skin like a second layer. Every breath was a struggle, the moisture in the air making it feel as though I was breathing underwater. The mist hung low, obscuring my vision and adding to the sense of disorientation. The dense foliage closed in around me, creating a claustrophobic atmosphere that made it difficult to think clearly. I moved cautiously, my senses on high alert. Every rustle of leaves, every distant call of an unseen creature set my nerves on edge. I had to be vigilant, for danger could be lurking around any corner. The jungle was alive with sounds, a symphony of nature that was both beautiful and terrifying. I had to rely on my instincts, trusting that they would guide me through this treacherous terrain. I had to find a safe place to spend the night. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows that stretched across the jungle floor. I knew that once darkness fell, the jungle would become even more dangerous. I needed to find shelter, a place where I could rest and gather my strength for the journey ahead. I searched for a suitable spot, my eyes scanning the dense foliage for any sign of a safe haven. The island, once a paradise, now felt like a prison. The beauty that had once captivated me now seemed sinister, the lush greenery hiding countless threats. The isolation was suffocating, the vast expanse of the jungle making me feel small and insignificant. The storm clouds gathering on the horizon mirrored the turmoil within me, a constant reminder of the challenges I faced. I had to stay strong to keep moving forward despite the odds, but I was determined to escape. I refused to let the jungle defeat me. I had faced adversity before, and I knew that I had the strength and resilience to overcome this challenge. My determination was my greatest asset, a driving force that kept me going even when the odds seemed insurmountable. I would find a way out no matter what it took. I would survive. I had to. The jungle was a test of my endurance, a trial that would push me to my limits. I had to be resourceful, using every skill and piece of knowledge I had to stay alive. I gathered materials to build a fire, knowing that it would provide warmth and protection against the creatures of the night. I set up a makeshift camp, creating a small sanctuary in the midst of the chaos. I pushed on, deeper into the green abyss, the unknown waiting ahead. Each step took me further from the familiar into a world that was both wondrous and terrifying. The path ahead was uncertain, but I knew that I had to keep moving. The jungle was a place of mystery, a realm where the line between reality and imagination blurred. I embraced the challenge, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The unknown was calling, and I was ready to answer.